Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you all of my custom settings and everything, whether it comes to camera settings, in-game settings, controller settings, everything. I'm going to be showing you everything today. I get a lot of questions that are asking about this. So I thought, let's just make a video. Let's just compile everything into one video so you guys can refer back to this if you ever need it in the future. So starting off straight away with game settings, naturally we obviously play on legendary, but none of these things really matter too much. It's only really the competitive mode that matters. Obviously, if you're playing squad battles, you turn on the competitive mode or you can turn it off. It doesn't really matter. I mean, legendary and ultimate are quite difficult, especially if you're playing against very good teams. It's very hard, but I recommend turning that off. And again, I'd recommend turning the player-based difficulty off, which basically the star players in a team, they get boosted to the difficulty level above. So we've got it set to legendary. So obviously if let's say Mbappe's in the team and this player-based difficulty is turned on, it means that this difficulty level, he will go up to ultimate. He himself will play ultimate. The rest of the players will play to legendary. So I would recommend turning that off. And then we've got like game speed on fast, and then just pretty much everything else is standard. Doesn't really matter too much when it comes to ultimate team. Then in terms of the camera settings, I play on telebroadcast. I think this is the best camera. I've tried all of the different cameras, whether it be the EA Sports cam, the default, the pro, the end-to-end. I know a lot of people like the co-op camera because it kind of gives that higher up look. I don't really like it. I find it doesn't really work for me. So I stick to telebroadcast. I think that gets the best of both worlds. You kind of zoomed out and you're also kind of a bit higher, but obviously you can you get a better look at seeing the pitch. So we go 20 height and we go 0 zoom. 0 zoom allows us obviously to zoom out really far to see more of the pitch, which is really important, especially when lots of through balls keep getting played, especially or lots of switch balls. You need to be able to see who the pass is going to, so you can switch to your player a lot faster and you can react a lot quicker. And then the height just gives you a better look down on the pitch. So I think for me personally, this is the best combo. I'm not a huge fan of the co-op. It doesn't really suit me. So I think the telebroadcast is naturally the best. Now, when it comes to the custom controls, obviously you've got the competitive master switch, which obviously is turned on for all game modes, so such as FUT Champs, the playoffs, you know, division rivals, all of the online FIFA modes. This competitive switch is turned on, so you can't do anything about the auto clearances, the auto flare pass, the auto shots. All of that's turned off anyway, to obviously try and create a quote-unquote skill gap in the game. In terms of through pass assistance, I have it on semi. I think this works well for me. It's just something that I don't like to tweak too much with, because obviously you can go like super manual with your passing and whatnot, but it just is very difficult to try and master. In terms of the trainer, I've got that on show, but it's mainly just to be able to time finesse shots a little bit easier. In terms of time finishing, as we said, time finishing is on, so it just makes it a little bit easier to obviously practice. If you want to practice timing your shots, I'd recommend turning this on. If you're somebody who's already very good, you kind of know it off by heart how to time your shots, then obviously you don't need it on. It doesn't really make too much difference, but if you're someone that wants to learn how to perfectly time your shots, I'd recommend just turning on the timed finishing only. Turn off like the trainer itself when it gives you obviously options to pass or shoot or whatever it may be, and just have the time finishing itself turned on. In terms of obviously the next player switch, obviously we've got that turned on. We've got the pass block assistance again. We've got that turned on. The auto switching, I've only got for air balls and loose balls. You can turn that off if you feel like it. If you feel like sometimes the ball's getting switched out, for example, to the wing, and you don't want to switch player and the game switches for you, then you could recommend turning this off. Just have it on manual, so then you switch it completely by yourself. But obviously having the air balls and loose balls means that sometimes in those crossfield passes or whatever, the game will switch for you. If you don't like that, you can just turn it on manual and do that. But I don't mind the game switching. Often it does a good job at switching to the correct player, especially if you're on, let's say, your left midfielder and the ball gets switched across. You need to then switch to your centre mid, then to your other centre mid, and then to your right back. So you've got to switch 3 times. The game will just automatically switch for you. So I find that that's quite helpful in certain scenarios. In terms of the auto switching, I've got this on none in terms of the move assistance. So it will allow me obviously to just move by myself. I won't have any input from the game. It just allows me to do it when I feel like it. So I think that I try to have it, I would recommend, as manual as possible. The only thing that I'd recommend to not be manual is passing, really. But I try to keep all of your settings as manual as possible. Obviously, the clearance assistance, I've got that on directional. The player lock is on. The icon switching is on. The right stick switching is obviously going to be player relative. All of these settings you can see here are exactly what I want them to be. I want them to to work for me. These are the things that work for me. Obviously, if you find that a certain thing is not working for you, if you don't like obviously cross assistance or shot assistance or whatever it may be, then you can try them on manual and try or on semi or whatever it feels like for you. But these are the ones that, as you can see, these are the ones that that I've selected. They just work very, very well for me. But if there is something that's not working, then I recommend changing it and finding something that does work for you. But these are the settings if you guys wanted to see that work for me. And in terms of the actual controller, I just play on classic. I don't really want to mess around with sort of the alternate or the 2-button or anything like that. I can't imagine many people play on these, but I would recommend just sticking to classic and just keeping everything as simple as possible. But they're it for my settings, whether it be controller settings, in-game settings, or camera settings. They are everything that I use. So if you ever need to kind of come back and reference this video to see if there's anything that we do differently, you now can see all of our settings. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did find it useful, drop a thumbs up and subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. That is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.